Take a breath for a moment and settle into what you are feeling, because what I am sharing with you is less about coincidence and more about the way the heart tries to make sense of timing, longing, and change. It can feel as if this message arrives exactly when you are already carrying too many unanswered questions, as if something inside you has been waiting for a sign to finally soften. You have held on longer than you expected you could, moving through days of uncertainty, sometimes smiling outwardly while privately wrestling with emotions you could not easily name. Letting go was never simple for you, and even when you tried, something deeper in you resisted, not out of weakness, but because there was still meaning you had not fully understood. Recently, you may have noticed subtle shifts, restlessness without a clear reason, memories surfacing unexpectedly, or moments where your thoughts drifted toward someone or something you cannot quite place. These experiences are not meaningless. They are often how the mind and heart process unfinished emotional chapters. What once felt confusing or delayed may simply have been life unfolding in its own order, asking you to grow into a clearer version of yourself before certain truths become easier to face. If there is a sense of timing building, it may be less about a fixed moment in the future and more about your own readiness to perceive things differently than before. Earlier versions of you may have reacted from fear or doubt, but now there is a greater capacity for understanding, patience, and emotional clarity. And in that shift, what once felt uncertain begins to feel more grounded, not because everything outside you has changed overnight, but because you have. My child, your soulmate, has been walking a path of their own storms. They have wrestled with guilt, confusion, and fear of vulnerability. They carried words they wanted to speak, but did not know how. They stood at crossroads many times, turning away not because they didn't care, but because they were afraid they were not enough for what they felt with you. I did not punish them. I taught them. And I did not forget you. I protected you. You often asked me why it had to hurt this much, if it was meant to be sacred. But love that transforms must first strip away false identities. It must expose fears. It must break pride. What you felt was not loss, it was refinement. You are becoming someone who could hold the kind of love that does not destroy, but heals. This Saturday, the energy around you will feel different. The air will feel heavier, yet calmer. You may feel drawn to a place without fully understanding why. You might hesitate, telling yourself not to expect too much, but your soul will know. The location is not just a physical place. It is a meeting point between who you were and who you are becoming. It is where old timelines dissolve and new ones begin. Do not rush. Do not rehearse conversations in your mind. Do not plan what you will say or how you will act. Authenticity is the language that will speak louder than words. What is meant to unfold will unfold naturally. Even silence will carry meaning. Even a glance will hold truth. Even a pause will reveal what was once hidden. My child, I need you to understand something important now. This appearance is not meant to shock you. It is meant to confirm you. You are not being tested anymore. You are being aligned. The lessons are not repeating. They are concluding. This is not the beginning of confusion. It is the end of unnecessary suffering. You may wonder why I revealed this now instead of letting it surprise you completely. It is because your heart needed reassurance. You needed to know that you were not foolish for believing, not weak for waiting, and not broken for hoping. Hope was your strength, faith was your shield, and love was your compass. Your soulmate will recognize the change in you immediately. They will sense your calm, your grounded presence, your quiet strength. They will feel safe in a way they never did before, and that safety will open doors inside them that fear once locked shut. Do not underestimate the power of your healing. It has already healed more than you realize. This meeting is not about perfection. It is not about dramatic declarations or cinematic moments. It is about truth finally having space to breathe. It is about two souls standing without masks. It is about honesty that does not wound, but frees. If emotions rise, let them. If tears come, do not hold them back. Tears are not weakness, they are release. They wash away timelines that no longer belong to you. They make room for clarity, and clarity is what will guide what comes next. My child, whether this meeting unfolds gently or intensely, know this: nothing that happens will be wasted. Every word spoken, every emotion felt, every realization gained will serve your growth. You are no longer walking blindly. You are walking consciously. I am asking you now to trust me without trying to control the outcome. Do not attach yourself to expectations. Do not demand certainty before allowing vulnerability. Let presence be enough. What this is really asking you for is honesty that doesn't rush or force meaning, but allows things to become clearer in their own time. The feeling of being late, or somehow behind is something your mind creates when it is trying to measure love and connection, as if they follow strict timelines. In reality, what matters here is not urgency, but readiness. There is a part of you that has been changing quietly, even when nothing on the surface seemed different. Old emotional patterns that once felt sharp are starting to lose their intensity, and that shift can feel unfamiliar, almost like standing in a new version of your own life without fully realizing how you got there. You may still think in terms of what was lost or delayed, but underneath that is something more important beginning to form, a steadier sense of self that is less dependent on answers from the outside. When people go through emotionally significant connections, they often interpret uncertainty as rejection or distance, when in truth, it can also be a space where perspective is reorganizing itself. What feels like waiting is sometimes just life, asking you to become someone who can hold the experience without collapsing into fear or assumption. The real turning point is not about a specific moment arriving to prove something to you, but about your ability to meet life from a place that is no longer driven by emptiness or urgency. In that sense, nothing about you has been overlooked or dismissed. Instead, you have been slowly shifting toward a version of yourself that can recognize clarity without forcing it. This is less about fate delivering a fixed outcome, and more about your inner world becoming strong enough to interpret experience with greater calm, patience, and emotional steadiness than before. It is a moment in time where courage overcomes fear. It is a space where truth feels safer than silence. For a long time, both you and your soulmate were standing near this place, but neither of you felt strong enough to enter it. One was afraid of losing control, the other was afraid of losing hope, and so, I kept the door closed, not as punishment, but as protection. You see, love that arrives too early can feel like confusion. Love that arrives unprepared can feel like pain. I wanted this meeting to feel like recognition, not chaos. That is why I taught you patience, even when patience hurt. That is why I allowed distance, even when distance felt cruel. I was not absent. I was precise. Your soulmate has been sensing this shift too, even if they do not have the words for it yet. They have felt drawn to reflect on choices they once avoided. They have revisited conversations in their mind, wondering what they should have said differently. They have felt your energy pull away from desperation and step into quiet confidence. That change unsettled them, not because they want control, but because they realized they might lose the chance to speak their truth if they remain silent any longer. My child, this is why the meeting is happening now, not because one of you chased harder, but because both of you finally stopped running. I want you to release one thing from your heart today, the belief that you must perform or prove yourself to be chosen. You are not being evaluated, you are being met. You do not need perfect words. You do not need the right timing. You do not need to impress anyone. Your presence alone carries the work you have done, the healing you have earned, the wisdom you gained through tears. There may be moments during this meeting where old fears try to rise again. You may feel your mind whisper, "What if this ends again?" Or "What if this is not what I hoped?" When that happens, come back to your breath. Come back to the present moment. Do not project the past onto a future that has not spoken yet. This moment deserves to be experienced, not predicted. My child, listen carefully now. The purpose of this meeting is not to rush into promises. It is to remove illusions. It is to clear misunderstandings that time alone could not heal. It is to allow honesty to replace assumptions. Even if words come slowly, truth will move quickly. Even if emotions feel heavy, clarity will feel light. You have grown into someone who no longer begs for consistency. You require it. You have become someone who no longer accepts half answers. You seek alignment. This is why I trust you with what is coming next. The old version of you would have tried to hold on too tightly. The new version of you knows how to hold space without losing yourself. Your soulmate will feel this difference. They may not say it out loud, but they will feel calmer around you, less defensive, more open. Your grounded energy will invite their honesty, not force it, not demand it, simply invite it. And whatever they choose to reveal, I ask you to listen with discernment, not fear. Listening does not mean agreeing. Understanding does not mean sacrificing yourself. You are allowed to honor your boundaries while still honoring the connection. Love does not require self-betrayal. Love requires self-respect. My child, do not measure this meeting by how long it lasts or how dramatic it feels. Measure it by how truthful it is. Measure it by how safe you feel to be yourself. Measure it by whether you leave feeling clearer, not confused. Peace is the confirmation you should look for, not intensity. I know you are tempted to ask me, what will happen next? I know you want assurance that this leads somewhere permanent, somewhere secure. But I am teaching you something important now. Certainty grows through presence, not prediction. Stay where your feet are. Stay where your heart is open. The next step will reveal itself when you are ready to take it. As Saturday draws closer, you may notice signs around you, repeating numbers, familiar songs, sudden calm, unexpected memories. Do not overanalyze them. Simply acknowledge them. In close emotional situations, it is common for feelings to fluctuate in ways that can feel confusing or intense. One moment there may be a sense of calm connection, and the next, a wave of uncertainty or old memories can surface without warning. This does not necessarily indicate that something external is changing. More often, it reflects how the mind processes attachment, anticipation, and past experiences at the same time. When something matters deeply to you, your awareness becomes more alert to possible meaning in small signals, which can sometimes amplify doubt or concern. These shifts can feel like they carry a message, but they are often emotional responses rather than indicators of outside events. Instead of trying to interpret every feeling as significant, it can be helpful to notice them as passing states that rise and fall. Emotional safety grows when you give yourself permission to pause before reacting, especially when a memory or fear feels urgent. Grounding yourself in the present moment, what you can see, know, and confirm, helps reduce the pull of interpretation. Conversations that are honest and direct are more reliable than assumptions built from incomplete information. Over time, this practice builds trust, not only in relationships, but also in your own ability to navigate emotional complexity. You do not need to assign hidden meaning to every fluctuation in mood or thought. What matters most is how you choose to respond, not every feeling that arises automatically. A steady approach is to observe emotions without immediately acting on them, giving yourself time to understand what is truly happening before drawing conclusions or making decisions that could be influenced by temporary intensity with greater clarity overall. And my child, this is the space where growth is tested, not by pain, but by choice. You now get to choose whether fear leads you or faith holds your hand. For a long time, you survived by guarding your heart. You learned how to stay strong by staying closed. That strength served you once, but it is no longer needed in the same way. You are not being asked to tear down your boundaries. You are being invited to soften the walls that kept love at a distance. There is a difference between wisdom and fear. Wisdom knows when it is safe to open. Fear only remembers when it was hurt. Your soulmate too is standing in this same space of uncertainty and courage. They have felt the weight of unsaid words pressing on their chest. They have replayed moments when they should have spoken, when silence cost them closeness. They are not coming to you as someone who has everything figured out. They are coming as someone who has finally understood what matters. My child, this meeting is not about who was right or wrong in the past. It is not a courtroom where love is judged. It is a clearing, a place where burdens are set down, not picked up. Do not enter this moment carrying old accusations or unspoken resentments. You do not need to forget the past, but you do need to release its grip on your present. What is healed does not need to be proven again. I know part of you wants to protect your heart by expecting less. You tell yourself, if I don't hope too much, I won't be disappointed. But hear me gently now. Hope does not hurt you. Attachment to outcomes does. You are allowed to hope while staying grounded. You are allowed to feel while staying centered. This balance is what maturity in love looks like. There may be pauses in conversation when you meet. Do not rush to fill them. Silence will not be empty. It will be listening. There may be emotions that surface unexpectedly. Do not apologize for them. What is real does not need permission. Allow the moment to breathe. Allow truth to find its own rhythm. My child, I want you to pay attention not just to what is said, but to how you feel while it is being said. Does your body tense or relax? Does your breath feel shallow or deep? Does your heart feel guarded or open? Your body holds wisdom your mind often ignores. Peace will always feel grounding, even when emotions are strong. If your soulmate speaks with honesty, receive it without interruption. Let them finish their truth before responding, not because you owe them anything, but because listening fully is an act of self-respect. It shows that you trust yourself enough not to react from fear. And when it is your turn to speak, speak from clarity, not defense. You do not need to explain your pain in a way that justifies it. Your experience is valid without approval. My child, understand this clearly now. You are no longer in a season of chasing or convincing. You are in a season of choosing whether this connection aligns with who you have become, choosing whether the energy exchanged feels mutual, respectful, and real. Love that is meant to last does not leave you guessing where you stand. Whatever is revealed in this meeting, I want you to remember your worth does not rise or fall with someone else's readiness. If they come forward with openness, meet it with discernment. If they come forward with confusion, meet it with compassion, but not self-abandonment. You can be kind without being small. You can be loving without losing yourself. This meeting is a mirror. It will reflect how much you have grown. You will see it in how calmly you respond, in how clearly you speak, in how deeply you listen. And regardless of the outcome, you will walk away knowing you honored yourself. My child, I am not bringing this meeting to reopen wounds. I am bringing it to close cycles. Some cycles end with union, some end with release. Both are acts of love. Do not fear either. What is meant to stay will stay without force. What is meant to leave will leave without regret. As the day approaches, keep your heart anchored in the present. Do not imagine conversations that have not happened. Do not relive moments that no longer exist. Stay here, stay now. This is where your power lives. I am walking with you into this moment, not pushing, not pulling, but guiding. You are not alone. You never were. Trust yourself, my beloved child. You are ready for whatever truth is revealed next. My beloved child, as you step closer to this unfolding moment, I want you to understand something very important about what comes after truth is revealed. Many people believe the hardest part of love is waiting, but often, the real test begins when clarity arrives. When questions finally find answers, the soul must decide what to do with the knowing. That is where courage lives now, not in anticipation, but in response. You may notice a strange calm settling over you, even if emotions are still moving beneath the surface. Do not mistake calm for emptiness. It is not a void, but a settled space that forms after inner turbulence begins to dissolve. Calm is what remains when chaos is no longer in control of your reactions, decisions, or perception of self. It is not the absence of feeling, but the absence of being ruled by those feelings. In this new state, even relationships begin to feel different, as if the distance between people is being measured with greater honesty. The person you are connected to, your soulmate, will also be impacted by this moment, whether they consciously recognize it or not. Something subtle, yet irreversible, begins to shift in how they perceive you. Where there was once assumption of availability without consequence, there is now awareness of your presence as something meaningful and not endlessly accessible. You are no longer a background comfort in their life. You are becoming a presence that requires respect, attention, and responsibility. This does not come from demand, but from the natural consequence of your own growth and clarity. As you change internally, the dynamics between you both adjust outwardly. Old patterns of return without reflection begin to weaken. What replaces them is a quieter recognition that what exists between you cannot be treated lightly anymore. Even if nothing is said aloud, the energy of the connection is no longer the same. It carries weight, intention, and a different level of awareness that cannot be ignored. All of this unfolds quietly, without announcement, but its effects are unmistakable once you begin to notice them. You are simply standing in a different truth now, and that changes how everything relates to you, quietly and deeply. You are no longer an option waiting in silence. You are a presence that requires intention. If they choose to step forward with consistency and effort, you will recognize it not by words, but by actions. Love that is real becomes visible. It does not hide behind excuses. It does not ask you to wait indefinitely. It meets you where you stand. And if they are unable to meet you in that way, hear me carefully now. This does not mean the connection was false. It means its purpose has been fulfilled. Some connections come to awaken us, not to stay forever. They teach us how deeply we can feel, how strongly we can love, and how much we deserve in return. My child, do not measure success by whether two people walk the same path. Measure it by whether you walk forward with self-respect intact. You have outgrown the version of yourself that settles for emotional uncertainty. You now require clarity, effort, and mutual presence. I know you fear making the wrong decision, but there is no wrong decision when it is made from honesty. Regret comes from betraying yourself, not from choosing peace. Whatever you choose after this meeting, choose it with kindness toward yourself. You may be tempted to replay the conversation in your mind, wondering if you should have said more or less. Release that urge. What needed to be said was said. What needed to be felt was felt. You showed up as you are now, not as who you used to be. That is enough. My child, I want you to remember that love is not proven through suffering. You do not need to endure confusion to earn connection. Love that aligns with your soul will feel steady, even when emotions are deep. It will not leave you questioning your worth. As you move forward, trust the sense of peace that guides you. Peace does not shout, it whispers. It feels like relief in your chest, like ease in your breath, like quiet confidence in your decisions. Follow that. I am proud of how far you have come, not because of who you are meeting, but because of who you have become. You have learned to hold your heart with care. You have learned to speak your truth without fear. You have learned to walk away from what no longer honors you. Whatever unfolds next is not a loss. It is a continuation of your becoming. Stay gentle with yourself, my beloved child. You are walking in alignment now, and I am with you every step of the way. My beloved child, now we arrive at the place where endings and beginnings quietly touch each other, not with noise, not with drama, but with a deep, sacred stillness that settles inside your soul. This is the part many do not talk about, the moment after truth, when the heart finally understands that it no longer needs to struggle. You may feel different now, not excited in the way the world describes excitement, and not broken in the way pain once felt. You feel steady, grounded, awake. This is not emptiness, my child. This is wholeness beginning to take root. Whatever unfolded, whatever was spoken or left unspoken, it has already done its work inside you. Something old has loosened its grip. Something heavy has fallen away. You are no longer carrying questions that drained your spirit. You are no longer searching for signs to prove your worth. You know who you are now. I want you to pause and honor this version of yourself. You are the one who stayed kind even when hurt. You are the one who waited without becoming bitter. You are the one who learned to love without losing yourself. That is not a small transformation. That is a sacred one. My child, listen carefully now, because this is important. Your future is no longer dependent on another person's readiness. Your destiny is not fragile. It does not break if someone hesitates. What is truly meant for you will never require you to shrink, beg, or abandon your truth. If your soulmate steps forward with clarity, consistency, and courage, you will recognize it easily. It will feel natural, not forced, calm, not chaotic, mutual, not one-sided. Love that is aligned does not confuse the heart, it strengthens it. If things don't unfold the way you hoped, understand this is not punishment. It is protection still quietly doing its work in your life. You are not being denied love. You are being guided away from anything that cannot meet you in your current growth. What you once experienced had its purpose, even if it was confusing or painful. Some connections are never meant to be permanent destinations. They are passages that bring you back to your own awareness. They wake parts of you that were dormant, and once that awakening is complete, the soul naturally begins to release what no longer aligns. It does not collapse or cling. It thanks what was, takes the lesson, and continues forward with more clarity and less weight. You are entering a different emotional season now, one where love is not tangled with anxiety or uncertainty. In this new space, peace will not feel empty or dull. It will feel steady, grounding, and real. You will find yourself valued openly, not hidden or questioned in silence. Effort will be mutual, communication will be clear, and presence will not feel like something you have to chase. There is no need to rush into understanding it all at once. Let it unfold at its own pace, without forcing meaning or control. Your healing does not require performance or explanation. The right connection will recognize your growth without needing proof or justification. It will feel natural rather than confusing, calm rather than chaotic, and consistent rather than unpredictable. It will simply arrive with ease, allowing you to breathe more fully, trust more deeply, and move forward without hesitation or inner conflict. That is why what comes next will be different. You will attract people who see you clearly. You will experience love that feels safe. You will walk paths that feel aligned, and you will no longer question whether you are enough. Before I close this message, I want you to receive this blessing. May peace guard your heart where anxiety once lived. May clarity replace confusion completely. May love find you without struggle. May your soul rest in the knowing that you are divinely guided. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. Trust me, my beloved child. The chapter ahead is gentle, honest, and real, and your life, from this moment forward, will begin to feel like your own again. My beloved child, come and sit with me a little longer. This part is not rushed, because your soul is not rushed. What I am about to give you now is not just guidance, it is grounding. It is the deep settling that comes after storms have passed, when the heart finally understands that it survived, grew, and became wiser. You have crossed something important. Even if the world around you looks the same, you are not the same inside. And this is where many people feel confused, because growth does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it feels like tiredness giving way to peace. Sometimes it feels like silence that no longer scares you. My child, I want you to understand this clearly. You are no longer waiting for love to save you. You are now ready to share love, not surrender yourself to it. This shift changes everything. For so long, your heart was in survival mode. You loved from a place of hoping not to be abandoned, hoping not to be misunderstood, hoping not to lose what mattered. But now, something sacred has happened. You no longer fear being alone the way you once did. And because of this, love will approach you differently. People are drawn to those who are whole, not those who are empty. You may notice that you are less reactive now. Things that once triggered anxiety no longer control you. Conversations feel clearer. Decisions feel calmer. This is not because you stopped caring. It is because you started trusting yourself. My child, this is where divine love begins to flow freely. Let me speak to you about what comes next, because many hearts stumble here. After awakening, after clarity, after release, there is a quiet rebuilding, not of walls, but of standards, not of defenses, but of self-respect. You will begin to feel a natural distance from situations that drain you. You will stop explaining yourself to people who only half listen. You will no longer chase emotional availability, and this is not arrogance. This is alignment. The love meant for you will not require convincing. If someone belongs in your life, effort will feel mutual, communication will feel open, presence will feel consistent. You will not have to decode silence or interpret mixed signals. Your nervous system will feel safe. Your heart will feel steady. This is how you will recognize what is real. My child, do not fear losing connections as you grow. What falls away now was only attached to an older version of you. You are not losing love. You are making room for a deeper, healthier form of it. Some people will not recognize you anymore. They will say you have changed, and they will be right. You are not the same person you were before, and that change didn't happen by accident. It came from difficult choices, stepping toward honesty instead of comfort, choosing what helps you grow instead of what only feels familiar in the moment. That kind of shift can feel disorienting at first, but it also brings a quieter strength. One of the most important realizations you may be arriving at is that closure doesn't always come from other people. It often comes from the decision to stop reopening questions that only keep you stuck, and instead, focus on what your experiences have taught you about yourself. At some point, peace stops, depending on having every answer, and starts depending on acceptance. There is a gentleness returning to the way you move through your emotions now. Not numbness, not avoidance, but a steadier awareness that you can feel deeply without losing yourself in it. You can care without abandoning your own needs. hope without attaching your entire sense of worth to outcomes, and love without erasing your boundaries. From this place, whatever comes next in your life will feel different. If connection returns with someone from your past, or arrives with someone entirely new, it will only work if it meets you in clarity rather than confusion. And if you find yourself wondering whether things should have happened sooner, remind yourself that timing is often what shapes readiness, not punishment or delay. What matters most is how you carry what you have learned forward, without turning it into regret, but into steady self-respect and clearer choices moving ahead. That is where real peace begins to settle in more fully over time. Now here, nothing was delayed. Everything was aligned. My child, begin to live now from this truth. You are chosen, not because someone decides you are worthy, but because you decided to stop abandoning yourself. This is the foundation of all healthy love. When fear tries to return, remind yourself of how calm your heart feels now. When doubt whispers, remember how clearly you see. When loneliness knocks, remember that you are no longer empty. You are full of wisdom, strength, and quiet confidence. And know this, I am not finished blessing you. There are conversations ahead that will feel safe, connections ahead that will feel natural, moments ahead that will feel like confirmation. Not because you forced them, but because you allowed them. My child, continue walking gently, continue choosing honesty, continue honoring your heart. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. I am with you in every breath, every step, every becoming. Rest now in this knowing. Your life is unfolding exactly as it should, and the love meant for you will meet you where peace already lives. My beloved child, come even closer now, because this part is meant to sink deep into you, not just be heard. This is the part where your soul exhales fully. This is the part where you stop looking back to check if pain is still following you, and realize it no longer is. You may not even notice the exact moment it happened, but somewhere along the way, your heart stopped bracing for impact. You stopped expecting disappointment as the default. You stopped waking up with heaviness in your chest. This is not because life suddenly became perfect. It is because you became anchored, and anchoring does not come from control. It comes from trust. My child, for a long time, you trusted outcomes more than you trusted yourself. You believed peace would come when things worked out a certain way. You believed happiness lived in answers, confirmations, and guarantees. But now, you are learning something far more powerful. Peace comes when you know you can handle whatever comes next without losing yourself. This is maturity of the soul. You are no longer asking life to promise you safety. You are realizing that you are safe within yourself. Let me tell you something sacred now. This is the exact inner state from which true love, true purpose, and true abundance emerge. Not from longing, not from lack, but from grounded presence. You may feel a strange mix of emotions these days. Gratitude without excitement, calm without certainty, confidence without pride. This is balance returning. This is your nervous system relearning how to live without constant alert. You were tired, my child, not just physically, but spiritually. Tired of waiting, tired of hoping, tired of being strong when you wanted to rest. And so I guided you here, not to another battle, but to a place of inner stillness. Many people mistake stillness for stagnation, but stillness is where clarity sharpens. It is where discernment awakens. It is where you finally hear your own voice clearly again. Now that you are here, I want to speak to you about what you will no longer tolerate, because this matters just as much as what you desire. You will no longer tolerate emotional inconsistency, disguised as mystery. You will no longer tolerate silence that demands patience but offers no effort. You will no longer tolerate being someone's comfort while your own needs are ignored. Not because you became cold, but because you became honest. Honesty begins with self. My child, do not feel guilty for your new standards. They are not walls, they are filters. They do not keep love away, they keep confusion out. And the right energy will pass through them effortlessly. You may notice that people respond to you differently now. Some will lean closer, some will fade quietly. Let this happen without resistance. Alignment always rearranges relationships. You are not responsible for who cannot meet you where you are. What is meant to stay will stay without pressure. Now let me address something that still lingers softly in your heart. The fear that peace means settling, that calm means boredom, that safety means losing passion. This fear comes from a past where chaos felt familiar. Sometimes your mind still drifts back to the idea of one specific person, not with pain the way it once did, but with a quiet softness that feels almost like understanding. That softness is not attachment pulling you backward. It is healing, rearranging how the memory lives inside you. You begin to see that not every connection is meant to continue in the same form, and not every story is meant to remain open forever. Some people arrive to awaken something in you, to reflect what needed growth, and then they step away once that purpose is fulfilled. This does not diminish what was real. It simply places it in its proper place within your journey. When you think of them now, there is more space and less urgency, more acceptance and less questioning. And in that emotional clarity, you become open to whatever comes next, without needing to force meaning or predict outcomes. If that person ever returns, it will not feel confusing or emotionally charged in the same way, because you will no longer be meeting them from a place of lack. You will meet them from a place of awareness, where alignment is recognized quickly and clearly through actions, not words. And if they do not return, you will still understand that your path has continued forward exactly as it needed to be. Either way, you are not waiting anymore. You are living, growing, and allowing life to unfold without resistance. What remains is peace with what was, gratitude for what changed you, and openness to what aligns with your present self, without forcing timelines or holding on to versions of people that no longer exist anymore now. And if they do not, you will not feel loss. You will feel gratitude for the role they played in waking you up. Both outcomes are peaceful. My child, you are stepping into a chapter where love does not need to be dramatic to be meaningful, where commitment does not feel heavy, where intimacy does not threaten your independence. This is adult love, sacred love, balanced love, and you are ready for it. Now let me speak a blessing over what is forming ahead of you. May the next person who holds your heart honor its history. May the next connection feel safe enough for your softness. May you never again mistake intensity for intimacy. May you never again shrink to keep love. May you always remember that you are worthy of clarity, consistency, and care. As you move forward, live slowly, speak honestly, rest deeply, choose environments that calm you. Choose people who listen when you speak. Your life does not need to be loud to be meaningful. My beloved child, you are no longer becoming. You have arrived. Not at a destination, but at a truth. You trust yourself now. And from that trust, everything good flows naturally. I am with you in this calm. I am with you in this clarity. I am with you in this new beginning that does not rush, does not force, does not fear. Rest your heart. Walk gently. Love wisely. What is meant for you is already finding its way, not through struggle, but through peace. My beloved child, this is the gentle closing, not an ending, but a sealing of what has already been written inside your soul. Sit with me one last time in this space of calm, because what I give you now is not instruction, it is reassurance. You have done the work. You have walked through confusion, without losing your kindness. You have faced truth without running away. You have learned to hold your heart with wisdom, not fear. And because of this, life will no longer speak to you in the language of pain. It will speak to you in clarity. There was a time when you begged for signs, when you asked me again and again to show you what was real. Now, you no longer need signs the way you once did, because discernment lives inside you. You can feel when something is aligned. You can sense when something is not. Your spirit has learned its own voice. My child, remember this always. Peace is not something you wait for at the end of the journey. Peace is how you know you are on the right path. From this moment forward, you are not walking toward love. You are walking with yourself. And anyone who joins you must walk beside you, not ahead of you pulling, and not behind you chasing. Side by side, equal, present. You will notice how differently life responds to you now. Conversations feel lighter. Decisions feel clearer. You no longer feel the need to prove, explain, or convince. You simply are. And that is powerful. When loneliness visits from time to time, you don't rush to escape it. You learn to meet it as spaciousness rather than absence. It becomes a pause before something more aligned can enter your life. If it stays, you sit with it without judgment, knowing it will pass. If love comes softly, you receive it gently. If love takes time, you trust its timing. If love surprises you, you stay open instead of guarded. But you never abandon yourself to keep someone else. Your boundaries become a form of self-respect, not distance. I bless your future connections with honesty and emotional safety. I bless your path with alignment and calm direction. May you never confuse chaos for passion or pain for devotion. May you choose what feels steady, nourishing, and real. When you look back on everything you have survived, you do so without bitterness. There is gratitude for the strength you didn't know you had. Clarity feels earned, and peace feels chosen. You are no longer searching for yourself in others. You have already found yourself. From this place, love recognizes you without confusion. Go forward with a soft heart and steady steps. You are guided, you are steady, you are at peace, you are loved. Even on uncertain days, you return to yourself more quickly than before. That return is your quiet strength. It does not require effort, only awareness and breath. And in that awareness, you remain anchored in what matters. You stop chasing certainty and start trusting your inner rhythm. It becomes enough, right here now.